and Mike bring you into their world. It's not just chickens and the Angus herd. So take off your boots, relax, and go beyond the ranch.
Hi guys, and welcome back to the most windswept and sandblasted channel on YouTube today. I'm Mike.
I'm Erin.
And this is Beyond the Ranch. Hi guys, thanks for coming and hanging out with us this evening. The wind will not stop. Literally, if we wait probably 20 minutes, half the people that are in the chat room will blow into this room.
It's so bad.
It is ridiculous. What did you look at the wind today?
I saw 50 something on the weather station. I did a little growers thing for some of the people that are growing produce for Edible Prairie Project, and Cinnamon said they're way north of town, up in the northern part of the county.
Right. And
she said her weather station clocked 78 miles an hour last night.
Last night?
Yeah, she thought they were having a tornado.
So we have a weather station that sits on the shop, which actually I have to get up and change a battery on. And it has a receiver in our house. The loudest can opening ever.
Do you want another one?
I need to get up on the roof of the shop and change the battery in this stupid thing.
This has been like a 6-month project. That battery's really holding on.
I'm waiting for no wind to do it because I do not want to fly off the roof.
We've had days with no wind.
We have, but it seems like when there's days with no wind, then I've got something else going on. But
we don't get wind warnings until sustained winds of like 50 miles an hour with gusting in like the 60s
to 70s. Yeah. When there's danger of cars blowing across the highway, that's when they start.
Yeah,
with the
when they need to shut down semis and stuff, that's when we get wind warnings. But and it wasn't supposed to be this bad today. Yesterday was supposed to be gusts to the 40s, and then today was supposed to be just 20 to 30, which is still very windy, but normal. And it's been sustained winds of 40 miles an hour almost all day.
Every single harvest hoster, I don't know what to call them. Do we call them harvest hosties?
I don't know.
Because that makes them sound like a snack food. Wasn't that a hosties?
Hostess.
Oh, that's hostess, yeah. But anyway, everybody who stops by, they're like, is this normal? And I'm like, honestly, it's not. Now, everybody always thinks Wyoming is windy, but this is like something square.
Yeah, so it usually gets better in the summertime. We usually don't have as much wind. It's been every weekend for like the last 3 weekends. It's been 40-mile-an-hour winds for like 48 hours. This is August weather. Like, it's dry. There's no rain. It's windy. June is not typically like this. And we haven't had a windy summer for like 10, 12 years.
Yeah, it's been crazy. Actually, if COVID wouldn't have happened, we would have been having Ranch Roundup next week, and I don't think it would have been fun for anybody.
No.
So maybe there's a silver lining to that bunch of horse crap.
I mean, and I've seen, Utah, Colorado, all the way up to North Dakota, South Dakota, it's been windy everywhere.
Is this still blamed on the tropical storm thing, or is it just now that we're just in this whole sucking pattern?
I think we just
because
suck.
all this wind has to be going somewhere.
Update on making hay. We're not making hay.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Our whole next week is going to be wrapped up in branding and haying. We're going to be talking about that coming up. But yeah, it's that tropical storm or whatever it is that caused.
But this has been the last 3 weekends. So this is
it still the same problem, or is it just like a whirlwind that's just coming back and going around? We need a weatherman. Is anybody here a weatherman? Because I don't think a weatherman would watch us, but maybe, you never know. But yeah, it's
not typical.
Mess.
Like, this is not typical. Wyoming's windy, but we're windy in the wintertime. It's not typically this windy in the summertime.
Right. Did I show you the thumbnail for today's video, by the way? I did not. I went outside. I told Erin that I had to take a picture for the thumbnail, which is what I have to do when I schedule it. And I went out to take a picture, and I knew I was going to lose my hat. So I was like, maybe I can get a picture, with your phone. You're holding your phone out like this, and I'm thinking, maybe I can get a picture of my hat coming off in the wind. So I'm standing there taking pictures every couple seconds because I was like, it's going to blow off at some point. And then it did blow off.
Did you get the picture?
No, there's like one with me with a hat, and then the very next one is no hat. But the hat did go in the tree.
Oh.
So then I got the picture of the hat in the tree, which then friends of ours looked at and said, what the hell's in your tree? Is that like a melon? What is that? And we said, no, it's the hat. But the hat is, so anyway, it's a split screen. It's me with the hat on and then the hat in the tree. So that's the story of the thumbnail.
If you watch the webcam, you'll see that the windsock is back.
Yes, let's take a look at that. So the webcam is apparently not working. Isn't that great? I just love that when that happens.
There it goes.
Son of a- Why does this? The webcam hates me. Whenever
really
I try to
slow.
bring it up on the screen, I'm gonna try it one more time. There it is. Okay, so there's the webcam. Down in the lower left-hand corner, you see the windsock, that thing that's sticking straight out. That doesn't look so much like a sock, it's more like a wind board that's just flying out there in the breeze. It went missing for a while.
Yeah, the wind blew out of the north, and so it went south and was gone.
Gone. I went out and I didn't even notice it was gone. I think you mentioned it
did
to me, and
notice
then
it.
Matt mentioned it to me and said, "Hey, the windsock's gone."
Yeah.
I went looking for it.
Yeah, couldn't find it.
Couldn't find it anywhere.
Yesterday it showed back up.
Yeah. So the wind giveth and the wind.
The wind taketh and the wind giveth.
There you go. Yeah. It blew away. It came back.
Yeah, so some north wind must have taken it out to the pasture somewhere.
Somewhere, because I searched that pasture.
Yeah, and then the wind yesterday was blowing from the south, so things were blowing north,
other way.
it came and got caught on the fence.
Yeah, looks like a sideways traffic cone. That's right, it does, Sandra.
Yeah.
It looks like a sideways traffic cone. The other nice thing about the wind that I have noticed, and if you're going to look at the bright side of things, which you have to eventually or else you go insane, is that all the junk from the AeroQuip, all the trash and stuff, all those little styrofoam things that came with it, they've all blown into the alley.
Oh, okay.
So really now I just have to go through the alley with a trash bag and pick up all these little pieces of plastic and the boxes.
You picked up a bunch of it.
I did pick up a bunch of it, but what I missed is now blown up against the alley fence. So.
I found some in my compost pile, so.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Will
thanks.
it compost?
No,
Why not?
not the styrofoam.
Styrofoam won't compost. Oh,
And
maybe someday.
that's way far away from the AeroQuip. Is it your windsock or someone else's? Who knows? It's ours now.
Oh, we could have had like a windsock exchange program. Actually, Matt had a really good idea. One of our moderators here had a really good idea because when it went missing, he said, well, maybe it'll end up in South Dakota and another YouTuber will find it and put it up. And then we could just, as the wind blows, we'll just trade it around
Should
the
we just
world.
put
Be
it-
like the windsock that travels by wind.
It's already really faded.
It is. It's been beat to hell. I
But
mean,
we only had it a few months.
well, apparently it's a $5 windsock.
Well, it ain't gonna
really.
make
It's
it
not,
in
it's
the
not like
wintertime.
one that you're gonna find at the airport that's actually, you know, made well. This thing is basically a yard ornament, is what it is. It's like one of those things that people put in their yards. You know,
I'm surprised the pole's still holding up.
the pole is actually the most impressive part of the whole thing. But yeah, it's still there. If anybody happens to have a real windsock laying, I did want to get a real windsock
But
because
this is a real windsock.
it's not a real. That's like a child's toy windsock, right? It's like one that grandma would put in her
It
yard.
wasn't $5, so it's not a toy.
Well, it was like 15 or something like that.
it was
but
more
like
like 50.
no, it was not.
Yes,
Was it that
it
much? A real windsock, it's staggered. So if you look at a real windsock,
sure.
so like if there's half of it is up, that's like 10 miles an hour. If 3/4 of it up that's 20 miles an hour.
Hey, you're
And then
still
all
watching
way-
the webcam
Oh yeah, I'm still sorry
for
about
8
that.
hours. You've been
So if all of it, and if sticking straight out, that's like 35 miles an hour.
Okay.
So pilots can look at a real windsock and tell how fast the wind is blowing.
It's just windy here.
It's windy. Thank you, JB Weld, for the $5 super chat. The clouds aren't moving. I'm sure you didn't. Are you sure you didn't put coat hangers in the windsock to prop it up? Are the clouds moving? They're not moving. Well, the wind's not blowing up there.
Oh, maybe it's frozen.
Oh, well, maybe
God,
it is.
great TV. We leave them on the webcam and then it's frozen.
Is it frozen? It might
think
be,
so.
actually, now that I look at it. Okay, go to our website, ourwyominglife.com, and you can actually log into the webcam and see a live version of it. Apparently, that is just a picture. If anybody looked at the timestamp at the top, it probably wasn't moving. That's really weird. Anyway,
Thank you, Sean, for the $20. Mike, you could come stretch some poultry netting for me, taking a break from work for a bit. Is it
good for
windy?
you.
Is it windy?
Yeah, well, there's holes in poultry netting. I mean, the wind does blow through it, but it still doesn't work that way.
No.
What was I trying to? Oh, even the panels, the AeroQuip panels. When I was trying to set them up and
Yeah,
the wind was blowing,
last
and those
weekend.
things weigh like 150 pounds, and I'm trying to set them up, and it's horrible. The wind's blowing against them, they're blowing against me. I don't know how many times I almost like caught one,
Yeah.
just have it fall all over me. So
Steve, thank you for the super chat. So, do we have a counterfeit windsock?
we have a Walmart version of a windsock. That's what we have. And apparently a frozen picture because, yeah, you're right, it's not moving. Sorry, JB. Well, and I'm sorry it cost you $5 to point that out, by the way. Yeah, so I also wanted to talk about today we have...
It says camera's not available.
Oh, well, that's my own fault then. Okay.
What did you do to the webcam?
So if we have a power outage at all, it
haven't had
loses its IP address, and then I have to go reset it up. Usually Matt yells at me and says, hey, it's not working, and then I go do it.
Oh, we haven't had a power outage, though.
I don't know. I'll fix it after the live stream.
All right.
How about that? Yeah, great value brand. Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. Coming up tonight, we're going to talk about what we have coming up next week in the vlogs and how next week is going to play out. But also, I wanted to talk about honors that have happened here on the ranch. And Erin has actually been selected. Can we talk about this?
Yeah.
Okay. Erin has been selected out of an entire nation full of people.
Well, I don't know how many people were nominated.
I don't know either. But you were nominated,
yes.
And you are the Wyoming representative.
I don't know that I'm the Wyoming representative.
I don't know. Let's get to the point. What are you?
So I've been selected for...
The future Miss America.
No. So Farm Foundation is a nonprofit organization, and I have been selected. I'm one of 14, or there's 14 others, for their Farmer Accelerator, Young Farmer Accelerator program. So I actually have my first Zoom call tomorrow, but it's a platform that works for communication in the agriculture industry on what producers and consumers and stuff need, and it's partisan communication. It's the big thing. We will have 2 in-person meetings, one in DC where we will get to meet with congressmen and other legislators if COVID doesn't happen, because I think that's scheduled for February, and there's a conference in January also. So I will start that. Thank you to Christine Porter from University of Wyoming who nominated me.
Yeah. So 14 people.
14 or 15. I don't know if I'm one of 14 or myself and 14 others.
So you basically, it's what is that? What is you guys use a lot of big words, right? So what is an accelerator program?
Well, you just want me to find the
no,
letter.
You're just going to read me a whole bunch more big words.
I mean, I don't really know yet. We haven't done anything
So it's
yet.
Farm Foundation.
Farm Foundation is the organization.
.org. You can check out their website.
Yes.
And basically, I mean, you guys are going to be the voice.
I don't know that we're going to be
of
the voice.
agriculture through their organization for the next year. That's how I see it. If you're going to go to Washington and talk to yahoos and idiots about what needs to be done or even what's missing, I mean, obviously you're a voice for agriculture at that point.
Yeah. All right, so here's the acceptance letter that I got.
An accelerator's like a throttle. Yes, it is.
So it's Young Farmer Accelerator Program. It seeks to actively engage farmers from approximately 21 to 40 years old, barely squeaked by there, in a year-long series of interactive learning and networking experiences focused on gaining a deeper understanding of a wide variety of agriculture, agribusiness, and government issues. We hope that your participation in this program, blah, 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 networking, yeah.
Very cool.
So yeah, just listening and learning opportunities. I get paired with a mentor. I have to create a project that can be a blog post, a PowerPoint, a podcast.
Maybe you can make a video and put it on YouTube.
Maybe I can make a video and put it on YouTube at the end of the year.
We might be able to figure out how to do that, maybe.
It's going to be hard. Yeah, and there's some travel, and yeah, we have our first Zoom on. I have a few Zoom calls this week.
The interesting thing about all this is not through our Wyoming Life. Has nothing to do with that. Maybe through EPP, maybe a little bit more.
So Christine Porter, she's a professor at the University of Wyoming, and she also works on food security issues, and I've worked with her for the last couple of years through Edible Prairie Project. She actually heard about some of the work that Megan and I were doing up here. Specifically, I think our Free Little Pantry Network is what connected us together, and we've worked on several different things, including the formation of the Wyoming Food Justice Coalition. We're the working committee for the Wyoming Food Coalition, and then we've just partnered with her on a research grant for Edible Prairie Project for our spring greens basket. So I've done several projects with her, some ongoing projects, and she nominated me for this. So
I wonder how many people were nominated. I wonder if there was like a selection process or.
I don't know.
It'll be interesting to find out, because now that you're into this thing, you can find out the scoop on like, how did I get here? Like, did only 14 people apply and you were like, okay, it's farmfoundation.org. Matt.
It should be.
I think it's .org.
I would assume. Yeah, farmfoundation.org.
Yeah, so you can check that out. We did do a little bit of research into them because Erin was like, I want to make sure this isn't like some, cult or something.
Well, I just have to make sure that they don't appear to be like a lobbying group, but their website talks about like nonpartisan listening, and so yeah, I mean, there's some things within agriculture that we don't believe in, and people are very passionate about some of those things. So I just wanted to make sure that their beliefs and our beliefs match up, but they seem to be very right down the middle, which we ride that road a lot.
Well, maybe not so much anymore.
I mean, there's a few things that you guys have seen us, like with country of origin labeling and some of that stuff that we have spoken support of, that is not so much in the middle. But yeah, I mean, they seem to be really, especially for young farmers, like what are young farmers in America needing? So
yeah. I think it's indicative. That's a big word. Indicative of a path that we almost have to travel. Not so much, with us personally, but with our Wyoming Life and having a voice that can speak for our not our industry, but can speak for producers as that portion of our industry. So if we say, we're producers. I can't speak for the entire cattle industry. Mm-hmm. I'm not a feedlot. I'm not a processor as much as I really would like to be, so that I could put myself out of business. I'm not a distributor. I'm not a grocery store. Well, we kind of are.
We are a distributor.
A little bit of a grocery store. But like if you look at the stuff we're doing, I guess maybe we are a little bit in some of that stuff. But when I look at producers, I see these kind of opportunities coming to us as a chance to kind of stretch our legs, where we can actually go out and actually try to make a difference. We've always talked about, giving people a chance to explore the ranch life and escape the ordinary and do all that kind of stuff. But also at the same time, I think we do have a responsibility to our industry to represent producers. And I think this is a great opportunity.
I think so too. I'm excited to see what the next year brings and what opportunities continue to come forward from being selected for this program. I mean, it's a unique opportunity that I think multiple paths kind of crossed. I think our Wyoming Life kind of inspired some of the work that we were doing for Edible Prairie Project, but so at the same time, like, they're separate paths. But I think just 3.5 years ago, like, being like, we need to show people what's going on in agriculture, like that changed our path. And like, we're unique producers because we have so much contact with our end consumer.
Right. Yeah.
We're not just selling to an elevator. We're not just selling to a feedlot. And that's a big connection that a lot of farmers and ranchers don't have.
It does amaze me. I talk to a lot of farmers, and some of them say, like, we haven't sold directly to a consumer in years, in generations. Yeah. And being able to actually have that connection to an end consumer, your corn is going to ethanol. They're not going out and hanging out at the gas station and talking about people that are getting their gas.
Yeah. And if we could get processing for beef for next year, I would process every single steer on the ranch and sell to end consumer. And I think that is the direction that we will be.
Can you imagine how many freezers we'd have to have?
No, it'd all go halves and wholes.
Really?
Pre-sold.
We could do that.
I think that will be the direction that we will be moving in the next 2 to 3 years, when the
backlog
of
changes,
processing gets straightened out. We had a super chat from Susan Chambley, and I believe it was about grants. Erin, hi, Erin, do you write your own grants? So all the grants are for Edible Prairie Project.
I didn't know I could do that. I can click on it here and actually see what it is.
Our Wyoming Life doesn't do any grants, so all of the grants are for Edible Prairie Project, the nonprofit, and Megan mostly writes those. I occasionally provide some input.
It's like you spelled that word wrong.
I don't even actually read them. Like, she called me on Friday.
You don't even read.
I don't.
Oh my gosh, you're such a good co-founder.
No, it's fine. That's Megan's role, and I have my own roles within the organization. But she called me Friday for an emergency COVID funding grant that I think Albertsons is who's doing it.
Albertsons is a grocery store.
Yeah, and kind of just, hey, how can we use this? How can we fit this in the program that we would be applying the money to if we receive the grant, and what are we still missing from that program financially? So I offer my opinion.
I think one of the things that I see, even with EPP, is like there are so many opportunities out there, trying to connect those opportunities with people at the end. Mm-hmm. That's the problem you guys have right now, isn't it?
Well, so an opportunity that we've discussed recently, and it came to the forefront on Friday, and I don't know when this will happen and stuff, but we had with our veggie basket program, our MultiFarm CSA, if you're on SNAP or WIC, which is food stamps or women, infant, children, we have tiered pricing, and so you pay $10 per week instead of the retail value of $25, and you receive the same quality and quantity of produce every week. And we had a customer that her work actually donated to our summer weekend meals for kids. She's come out to the farm store. I got to know her quite well last summer when she came for 10 weeks and picked up her veggie basket. And she said, "Great news, I've got a better job. I've lost my benefits. I can't afford to buy a veggie basket." Wow. So that gap there between when you are eligible for federal funding, but then you get a better opportunity financially, professionally, and you lose your benefits, there's a problem there. And at some point, we hope that EPP can be a better financial qualifier than the federal standards, because federal poverty standards still don't mean food security. So
that was really deep.
It's just a problem. It is a problem within the food system. So, yeah.
Is Albertsons part of Kroger?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're all like one
There's like
company.
3. Yeah.
There's like Safeway.
Safeway.
I remember Safeway. Is IGA still around? Does anybody remember IGA? I remember IGA. I don't know if they're still around. What did that stand for? I don't know either. But I do remember IGA. So. Not only that, and because we really don't like Erin to outdo anybody else on the channel, is that our Wyoming Life is actually partnering as well, and you're going to see some of this next week, hopefully, as we begin to work with an organization called RCAF, which is actually there to support producers. We're not looking for help with the entire industry. What we want to do is actually work with companies that want to support producers and nonprofits that want to support producers as far as cattle producers and sheep producers. I think they work with both of them. And so you're going to see some of that coming up in the next couple weeks as well. It is one of those things, like, you have the voice, you have to say something.
Okay. Albertsons is Safeway. Kroger is a different. Kroger is King Soopers, right? I don't know. I
can't keep them all straight. IGA, Independent Grocer Associate. So they're independent. But I don't see them anymore.
I don't think they're around.
I don't know if they are still around or not. I have no idea. Oh, they still have IGA in North Carolina. Look at that. I was learning something.
Yeah.
We have Don's.
We used to have IGA. Don's is locally owned.
Weren't they an IGA?
No.
No. Office
Depot was IGA. Office Depot used to be a grocery store.
No, Office Depot is Office Depot.
No, it used to be a grocery store.
Okay.
And Trends Furniture used to be Deckers.
That is crazy. So yeah, coming up in the next week or so, we are going to kind of, we've always said we don't talk politics. We try not to stay out of that. And one of the things that, when you do talk politics is I need to talk about things that affect us and our family and our end goal. I don't need to worry about some other things that are going on everywhere else in the world. But when it comes to the cattle industry and how things affect producers, I think, honestly, if you don't stand up and fight, you're just as guilty. And that's kind of what I've been kind of tossing around and worried about in my head and stuff like that. It's like, by being quiet, by not saying anything, by saying, hey, we're going to stay out of this because we have social media capital that we don't want to risk by pissing somebody off. You know what I'm saying? And we have friends that do this, that are in social media, who say, I'm just going to stand on the outskirts and say, hey, you go fight that battle.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to risk my social media capital, which is a new thing I learned, actually. I learned that from the CMO at AeroQuip. We have social media capital.
Oh, we do.
And so, yeah, we need to be able to stand up for what is ours and protect our own industry, which I think is something that we're gonna try to do. If it blows up in our face, it blows up in our face. But it's not a partisan thing either. I don't think it is. That's what's weird about it. It's not a Democrat Republican BS. It's food.
Yeah, and I think we're gonna continue to fight for more direct to consumer, more farm to table across the United States. I think that is the best bet for us as producers. We can make more money that way because we're not splitting profits with 3 or 4 companies before it gets to you. And you guys as consumers get to have more transparency in the food that you're eating.
Exactly.
So that, I think, 10 years ago, I hopped on this farmers market thing and I didn't know we were gonna end up here, but
you did put us down this path in a
weird
kind of way. Erin, actually, I don't know, I think I've told this story before, but I was sitting at my desk in a radio station, and my phone rings, and it's Erin, and she's like, "Do you want to go to Wyoming, or you want to go back? You want to go back to the ranch?" And
we were in Wyoming.
We were in Wyoming.
Yeah.
We're actually in Cheyenne. Do you want to go and work on Gilbert's ranch?
Yeah.
And I was like, "Gilbert who?" I mean, I knew who he was. Just
We
kidding.
were literally married, so.
But yeah, that's how the whole thing. So it all started with a phone call, and some things start with a beer, some things start with a phone call, and a beer probably afterwards. But,
Yeah, and then a few years later, we went to farmers market, and
yeah,
I was like, "Oh, this is fun," and yeah.
and that's what started out Wyoming Life as well, because the first video we ever put out was kind of to promote farmers market.
Yeah.
So this is all your fault.
Yeah.
I'm blaming you for every last bit of it. So as we move along down this road, I think things will be it'll be interesting.
And it's not every episode's going to be
no,
about
God,
politics.
no, don't do that. So Erin proposed. Actually, I tried to get Lexi to propose. Lexi was our dog at the time. She passed away a few weeks ago, but
We were married before we embarked on this journey. You'd
yes,
already
yeah, we had
proposed.
gotten married in June
Yeah,
on the 28th,
yeah, almost coming up.
and we moved here in October
Yeah,
of that year.
yeah.
But yeah, I did try to get Lexi to propose. I tried to put the ring on her collar, and she wouldn't let me do it.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that's that. But anyway, yeah. So obviously we're not going to be a political channel in any way whatsoever. But I am going to.
We will discuss the
We're gonna
political
talk about
issues
it a little
that our
bit.
industry is facing.
Exactly. And you know what kind of brought this about was actually we got a super chat a couple weeks ago about the 5414 thing. And
It's not 54, it's 5014.
5014.
Yeah.
And which is that 50% of local meat.
No.
You can explain it better. 50 and there's okay. explain.
50% of cattle that the processors are buying has to be purchased on the cash market, and it has to be delivered to the processors within 14 days if this passes.
If it passes, and that means they can't play the futures market.
Yeah.
And the futures do kill every producer. I mean, it's horrible. So.
I mean, not always. Sometimes they work in our
always.
favor, but with the monopoly that is within the producer market or the processor market that we've talked about a few times, they can really gouge the feedlots, which in turn trickles down to us, because feedlots, if they're not making any money, they're going to pay a lower price for calves. And so now that it has to be based more upon cash value at the moment rather than delivering steers in April that were paid for in September.
Right.
So from what I understand of it, it's somewhat a confusing legislation.
Is there any legislation that's not confusing?
No.
I mean,
No.
Anyway,
And that's not the answer to all of our problems either.
Oh God, no.
Like that's the processors need to be broken up.
no, I don't think there's an answer to everybody's problem at any given time.
I mean, a big problem that could be solved is if there was more local meat processors, more state inspected and more federal inspected meat processors within all of our communities in our states, you guys would have easier access to local meat.
But you want to know why there's not? Because large meat packers don't want them.
Yeah.
Because then you would be able to buy meat locally.
Yeah.
So JBS, Cargill, Tyson, they're all getting sued by the grocery. They're actually getting sued in an antitrust suit right now, which is actually being pushed through by RCAF, and we're going to talk about that next week as well. So let's take a few questions. We have more to talk about what's coming up in the next week. The live stream has kind of become like a spoiler with the vlogs, because you come to the live stream, you can find out what's going to happen next week, or you can just watch tomorrow's video and we can talk about what's coming up next week. But let's take a few questions and then we'll get into what we have coming up. The ducks, James. Thank you very much for bringing up the ducks. So we have learned we have 2 duck nests.
Well, we have that white duck's on a nest somewhere too.
Oh my God, there's 3 duck nests?
I haven't found her, but she's not around. So she's on a nest somewhere.
Oh crap, I saw her not too long. Where did I see her?
Did she have babies with her?
No. Why are all the ducks having babies? They're not having babies, they're having nests, which doesn't guarantee anything. Animals sit on nests.
Yeah, so we have two of the runner ducks. We know where their nests are at. One is across the road. She frequently attacks the harvest host people.
Yes. If you ever come here and stay as a harvest hoster, actually, I think Matt's making us a sign that says "Warning: Killer Attack Ducks."
Yeah, and the other runner duck is by the gate into the ranch. and they're spending a fair amount of time on their nest. They do come in and hang out with their boys that they hang out with. There's two black ducks that they spend a lot of time with. It's a little herd of 4, and I see them usually once a day. I'll see the runner ducks. They come and get water and food and stuff, and then they go sit back on their nest. So they haven't hatched anything yet. I don't know if they will.
I didn't know, and a harvest hostess, whatever.
I thought you and Tammy Fensel were talking about this.
No, I think it was a harvest hoster who looked it up and said it was 28 days.
I thought it was Tammy Fensel.
So, but then I was looking it up, and they have to be at like 94 degrees or something like that. And like she has to sit on it for like 20 hours a day. So I don't know. They're not doing that. They're wandering around.
I think they're spending about that much time.
You think so?
I do.
She is cute. She's across the road. She literally, like, she'll walk to the highway. She stops, looks both ways.
Yeah, you saw her across the highway.
And she trucks across the highway. It's really fun. And then she'll come back over here and hang out for a little while, and then she must go back.
Yeah, she comes and eats and drinks.
Yeah, she's going back and forth. So honestly, I don't know when. I guess we'll know they're fertilized when they hatch. Really, I mean, is there another way to tell?
Yeah, you can candle them. They're probably far enough along that if you stuck a flashlight up,
but they're duck eggs. They have a lot thicker shells.
You should still be able to candle them.
So I take over my really bright flashlight when she's not sitting on them, and we can do some testing.
Yeah,
we'll do that. That sounds like something to do. Yeah. So that's the story of the.
Yeah, we should probably put some water. But see, we could put some water on the other side. So she's going to have to bring them over at some point, though, once they're ready. I think she'll keep them over there for some time, and then she's going to have to cross with them.
She's not. We're going to have to go gather up ducklings.
But the problem is her herd is over here. And so it's not just a food and water thing, because there's water and there's food over there that she could use. We could make a better water situation for her, but there's a stock tank. I suppose maybe she can get to it.
No.
She could get to it if she figured it out. And that stock tank overflows, and so she could find water.
I've got a float on it.
Okay, fine. So we need to get her some water, but her herd is over here, and so I think she'll want to reunite with her boys.
Yeah, they have been together their entire lives.
Yeah.
Can you, JB Weld asked, can you move a nest?
I wouldn't. If I had an incubator, I would just go throw them in an incubator, but we don't have one.
Did you ever in your life think you would be talking live on the internet to hundreds of people about ducks and their nests?
No. Crazy. Yeah, it's probably a flock, not a herd. But yeah, she's got her
flock. Whatever.
She has her boys. It's the 2 girls that are runner ducks, and then the 2 boys.
Yeah. They hang out together.
There's 1 cayuga and I think 1 Swedish duck.
Yeah. I missed it earlier back when somebody asked about live streaming branding. We are planning on live streaming branding. In fact, that'll preempt next week's live stream happening here on Beyond the Ranch. We're not going to live stream on Sunday night, but we will live stream on our Wyoming Life. Is that what we're going to live stream?
Yeah.
Yeah, on the main channel, our Wyoming Life, on Saturday, which will be the branding. Yeah, I don't know what time that's going to start. We'll figure that out somewhere along the line. So.
I don't know, probably about 7 or something, I think is what you usually start them.
Yeah, and you'll actually, because we're vlogging, you're going to get, all the updates right up until basically the day of branding, because we're going to have, we got to bring in cows. There's a bunch of stuff we have to do to the corrals still. We have to, sort, all that kind of good stuff. All that's going to be coming up, as we come up to that. So branding will be a live stream that'll start probably around 7 and will run pretty much at least half the day. They usually, 6-8 hours, something like that.
Yeah, they're long.
Yeah, so.
I don't know what you're going to do Sunday night, Matt. Sorry.
I don't know. What are we supposed to do Sunday night? I don't know. Maybe talk to each other. Might be a good thing to do.
Hang out with your own family.
Alex mentioning last Monday's live stream on Owl. That's kind of what I'm testing tomorrow. We do have a video coming out tomorrow morning, in which we're going to do actually the exact same thing that we did during the live stream. Last Monday, we did a live stream instead of a regular vlog, basically talking about what we had coming up in the week, which we're talking about now. So you guys get like this massive spoiler. But we're going to talk about what we have coming up. But this time it's going to be a produced video, so that I can actually compare the two and see if a live stream was better to do or if a produced video was better to do. A live stream is obviously easier, but...
Tammy says that Matt can just talk to you.
Yeah, there you go. Call me anytime you want, bud. So we can compare last Monday to this coming Monday and let people comment, and I hope that you're able to comment and let me know which you preferred. I mean, obviously you guys are totally biased to the live stream. You guys were here. You know, but we did have, what, 700 or 800 people there for that live stream.
Yeah,
that
like
morning,
consistently about 800 for the whole hour.
Yeah. So, and we got a chance to go around. I did get one guy that was like, "This is horrible, and you are changing subjects too fast." I don't think he realized it was a live stream because he watched it later and then left this horrible comment about how bad it was and how it did not live up to your usual
you're better
production.
than this.
You're better. Yeah, he said, "You're better than this," and I was just like, "Oh my gosh!" Like, I want to go climb underneath a rock, you know. But yeah. So anyway.
Yeah, no, I saw a question about any plans for a dog yet. Not until August or September.
Are we still waiting that long?
Yeah.
Okay.
You got time?
I might, if we're not haying.
You don't have time. You can work on Ranch Roundup.
And William asked if the Mack truck is fixed. I have talked to Gary a couple times this week. I haven't brought it up. I don't want to be like pushy about it, you know. I kind of feel bad. He does have our truck, so if he's watching, a little pushy.
Yeah, but we haven't transferred title.
We haven't transferred. Yeah, our truck's just sitting down in his lot. So, yeah, it's. I don't really know anything. Gary actually, they're somewhere else, or they were for the last few days. They've been up in the mountains, so I don't think he's had time to deal with it at all. But
Tammy and Matt want us to train the ducks to go out to the pond so that they can watch them on the webcam.
If you do watch the webcam, the one that's not frozen right now, you can see the geese go out there.
The white geese go out, yeah.
The white geese go out and walk around.
Yeah.
All right, let's see if we have any more questions. If not, we're going to get on to the next subject here. Swedish duck ski team. All right. Owl branding irons. We can't sell. That's like selling weapons and be like, "Hey, go brand something." How's the peacocks doing?
They're fine.
That's it?
I mean,
they're learning how to play Parcheesi. I don't know. They're doing great. What are they going to do?
Oh, yeah, they really went out with the chickens.
Do they really?
Yeah.
I've got them pretty well trained to go to bed at night. I just have to go over there and yell at them now, and they just go to bed. I don't even really have to yell. I just say, go to bed, and then sometimes I get in and walk around a little bit, but other than that.
I've seen lots of questions about snakes. Do you want to talk about snakes?
I don't know. You like snakes. Talk about snakes.
I haven't seen any snakes this year.
I have not seen a single snake. I don't know. Is that because it's so dry and so windy?
So
maybe does the dry weather and the windiness keep the snakes away? Are they blowing to Canada?
We don't see a lot of rattlesnakes around the house. Like, you typically won't see any rattlesnakes until haying.
Yeah.
They'll be out in the hayfields. But we also have a lot of bull snakes, which again, we don't see a lot around the house.
I see more bull snakes around the house than I do anything else.
But not like...
I've seen a lot of mice this year. We have cats catching mice
so
like crazy.
Mice.
I don't know what's up with that, but yeah. We have tons of mice. So maybe the snakes just aren't doing anything, and that's why there's so many mice.
And we have gardener snakes, but I haven't seen any of those either. No.
I think it has something to do with the weather, I'm telling you.
I have seen, we have a moth invasion, moth or millers. We call them millers.
Do people call them millers? I don't know. That's a good question.
That's a weird.
We've always called them millers. I didn't know.
I think that's a very Western thing, because like you grew up in Montana, you guys call them millers.
We call them millers, yeah. And they'd get so bad you'd suck them up with the vacuum.
They are insanely horrible, and they got kind of better for a few days, and now like last night I had to walk through the entryway in the shop, and I got they're just bouncing off of you, and like I opened the door and I was just like, oh shit. I think it's also going to be a bad fly year. We have quite a few flies already.
Yeah, I'm going to do a test. Is anybody interested in knowing what kind of fly traps work? Because I would actually like to test that. Yeah. The fly traps, I'd like to test those. JB Weld, if you can't bring cattle to auction this year, will you skip breeding this year to keep the herd manageable?
No, we'll breed.
We'll breed. It's one of those things like you can't. That's a huge thing. Like you do that and you're basically saying I'm not going to get paid next year.
Yeah.
So you can't just say I'm going to bank on it. And yeah, if you don't breed, you don't get paid. So
we're going to breed.
Even if we do end up keeping calves back longer, we'll still have pregnant cows. That's our insurance policy for next year.
Yeah.
Even if it came down to it, if you have to sell a bred cow is worth more than a regular cow.
Than an empty cow. So. Yeah. And you don't want to feed. We're not going to have hay, so we're not feeding empty cows all winter.
Yeah.
So we'll breed.
Yeah.
Oh, also bugs. I have tons of dragonflies in the high tunnels.
Oh, dragonflies, yeah.
So many baby dragonflies.
Yeah.
It's a weird bug year.
It
comes with the drought.
Gary asked if we figured out what we're gonna do with the RV parking spaces. So in the last video I talked about, the harvest host and the RV stuff, and I got a ton of suggestions. Everything from dog runs to fire pits to basketball courts to.
Well, fire pit when it's not.
You burn down the whole state of Wyoming if you had a fire pit right now, literally.
I think fire restrictions are going to go in place any day now.
Yeah, I think so too.
In fact, tomorrow morning might come across our phones.
Could, yeah.
Yeah, I think.
So I know we're going to go with a picnic table. I think that's kind of the plan. Put up a picnic table.
I think we'll hold off on a swing set or anything. Our swing set that we built is leaning.
It's horrible.
We got to you got to fix that tomorrow.
I got to put up like guy wires on a trampoline or on a swing set.
It had like a little lean, and today it's like a significant lean. So that needs fixed. And also just because of the liability, of course. So we'll start with a picnic table, and we'll see how that goes.
Until somebody hurts themselves on the picnic table, then we'll take that away. Let's see, geese lay eggs. They sure do. We don't really do anything with them this time of year, but
sometimes they'll make a nest too.
Sometimes. Are the calves ever going to leave the yard? They left the yard yesterday. Erin was mowing. They went out and walked around.
That was Friday.
Was that Friday? Yeah.
I know. I pointed at you because you were weed whacking. You're like, fine.
Just let them go. They were fine. They just went out and walked. What are they going to do?
I don't know. Where'd you find them at?
On the other side of the shop, over by the Aeroquip. They were over there checking that out. I can't put them in those corrals because they're all dirt.
It's so dirty. They'll get pneumonia.
Yeah, they'll catch all that. They can't be sucking up all that dust. So they will stay in the yard for a while longer. I guess.
We should go put them in my mom's yard for a while.
Well, that'd go over well with her dog.
She can play with them.
You think she would?
I think they're bigger than the dog.
I don't know. Well, I know they're bigger than the dog, but they're going to be like, what the hell is that thing? And why is it chasing me? All right. When do the bulls meet the cows from Lady Lithius?
Soon. A couple weeks.
Yeah, a couple weeks. Usually they go out the beginning of July, so somewhere in there. I actually need to figure out when we want to start calving, and then I go backwards. Yeah. So, let's see, answer a few more questions.
The Aeroquip system's not moving at all in the wind, is it?
No, it's that thing. Literally, so everybody's all worried about it moving, and it will be interesting once we get some cows in there and get them pushing on it and stuff like that. And one of the things we're going to do during branding is we have to ivermectin the cows also. So we have to figure out if we're going to run them through the chute or how we're going to do that. But
last year we ran them down the alley and it worked great.
Yeah, we'll figure out something. Yeah. But we're going to see. We're going to have cows moving through there as well as calves. But I can tell you, like I cannot move one of those panels myself. Yeah. I have to get the skid steer and use the forks to move a panel when it's attached to the other ones. Yeah. I have one spot in the Aeroquip that I cannot figure out how to bring it together. It's like the last piece that I need to put in 2 pins, and I've got straps, and I'm trying to cinch these 2 panels together. It's right that octagon thing in the middle, and I ended up having to pull 2 pins because I moved a panel. Because I was short a panel, so I moved a panel, and now I'm trying to put it back together. I cannot for the life. It's got straps around it.
Stuff around it.
So that'll be fun to figure out. You'd be surprised how solid that thing is, and we're gonna get a chance to test it. I mean, obviously that's one of the
preg checking will be like the real test because the cows won't have much contact with the system.
They'll go through the alley,
yeah,
and the sorting alley, but yeah, we'll see how much. Any more skunks? I smelled one this morning. I haven't seen any more.
Yeah, my mom said she smelled one last night too.
Yeah, I smelled one this morning when I went down to the shop.
William Dunn says yes, they're called millers, and that's their actual name. Well, I think they're moths, but
they're miller moths, maybe.
I don't know. Maybe
Miller is their last name. Maybe it's Moth Miller. I don't know.
I put it on Instagram a couple weeks ago, and people laughed at me for calling them millers.
Really?
That's what they are.
People laughed at you?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
People tell you that it's not cake, it's range cubes.
Yeah, there's always that. All righty, moving right along. All right, let's talk about what we have coming up here next week as well. We are going to talk a little bit about RCAF and how they're helping the producers in the cattle industry, but also our big story next week, besides branding, which is obviously our big project for next week, but we have to make a decision on hay. Obviously, and we know from talking, and a lot of this is going to be kind of going through the motions, right? I need to make a video about hay. I need to measure hay. I need to make sure that that what we're looking at is actually what we're looking at. But the general consensus, even for other ranchers around the area, is that nobody's in at least this part of Wyoming is cutting hay this year.
So yeah, 2 of my growers for Edible Prairie Project that were down today for our little workshop that we did way on the northern side of the county, and they're both not cutting hay. It's extremely dry on both the southern and the northern ends of the county, which is better for the hay insurance situation, but it's still not, I mean, obviously we'd rather just cut hay. So pretty much general consensus is that from the ranchers that we've talked to and from looking at our fields, I don't think anybody's going to be pulling out hay equipment this year.
No,
which saves us some money.
Yeah, I mean, it saves you money.
A few $1,000s.
We talked about last year, I think it was on June 4th, or 5th, maybe 8th, somewhere in there, is when I went out and did the measurement of the hay, where I took it through the hula hoop out and cut hay and measured it to see. At that time, I had 600 pounds per acre. Now, that was last year. This year, it doesn't even look half that good, and it's 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
So where's the problem? What caused this issue?
So we had enough early moisture. So from second week in April, 20th of April until probably about 3 weeks ago, our moisture was okay. It was maybe a little bit on the lower side, but the rain has just quit and the wind has come up and it is just drying out the prairie.
Yeah.
And that's just what it is. So 90-degree temperatures, record highs that we've had, and very, very little rain. I think we had 13 100ths about a week ago. I think actually after last week's live stream, we got 2 100ths, and then the next day we got 13 100ths. That's a lot. That's probably really the only significant rainfall that we've had in the month of June.
So while we don't know where we're going to get hay from, and we don't know how much hay we're going to have to buy, we are going to have to come up with some creative solutions to this problem, because obviously if we buy hay again, we're going to end up losing more cows. I can see that happening.
It's expensive.
Yeah, hay is so expensive.
The good thing is that South Dakota has been getting more rain than we have.
Right.
And so if we can get hay out of South Dakota instead of, if we can get hay out of western South Dakota instead of eastern South Dakota or southern Wyoming, it is cheaper, because trucking is not as.
Yeah, and that's what makes the difference. So, excuse me. Ooh. I had to yawn. I got tired. The other interesting thing is that we're going to have to rethink the management of cattle. Obviously, this year we know that we're not going to have hay, and that's going to mean that the money that we would have spent on haying will actually be put into supplementing cattle feed throughout the entire summer.
And it's nowhere near the same. Haying cost a few $1,000s in fuel. Fuel costs are extremely cheap this year. The unknown with haying is always net wrap's expensive. I mean, probably that's a $1,500 to $2,000 bill every year for net wrap.
Yeah. And breakdowns.
Yeah,
we had a $10,000 bill last month or last year.
So haying can cost $5,000, or haying can cost $15,000 or $20,000, depending on how your tractors do and your equipment does during that. So
exactly.
Obviously we won't have a breakdown, and
you have to look at the silver lining here sometimes, but we'll be supplementing cows heavy and calves. So, and then what's going to happen is, instead of us haying those hay fields, the cows will be turned into them. The cows will be able to graze them, and we will have some fencing to do, whether we're going to use electric fence or whatever we're going to do. But we will have some fencing issues that we'll have to take care of, because there are some hay fields that aren't fenced in all the way.
And water.
Water is going to be the biggest thing. If we can since we kind of set ourselves up for this a little bit, because we are going to be selling calves later, so that means we can graze cows longer before we bring them back. The issue that we usually had was that we would bring cows back home in October, and then now they're at home. Now you can't, can you push them all the way back and get them to stay there? I mean, there's always kind of
our winter water system is different than our summer water system,
right.
And so that's all got to be adjusted for this.
So basically, if we can keep open water, then we can figure out how to keep cows on pasture longer, make sure that they're cleaning up as much as they can, especially at summer pasture, because it's a huge area that's not fenced off very well, and we want to be able to utilize that better through the use of water, fencing, all that kind of good stuff. So that's going to be some of the interesting situations that we're going to end up looking at this next week as we continue the vlogs and talk about haying and how you know, you can look at a problem so many ways, and you can let it get you down. But when you start looking at solutions, that's the only way you're going to dig yourself out of the hole. You can't just roll over and let the whole situation, you know, or you can't lay down and let the whole situation roll over you. You have to at some point stand up and say, okay, this is the hand we're dealt. Let's see how we can deal with it. And I think that's going to be the interesting part about how this year is going to play out, because not haying affects the ranch for an entire 12 months.
Yeah.
It's going to be, and it's going to affect every single little aspect of the ranch, from selling calves to how we feed over the winter to, you know, even fattening of calves, what weight they are. I mean, everything is going to play into the fact.
The drought and the wind is affecting my gardens, which then affects EPP's veggie basket program. And also, if we don't, like William, I think, was talking about, like, if we can get some more moisture, then like pasture situations can improve. Absolutely. Sometimes we get some good rain in August, and that will trigger some more growth, which will be better for fall grazing. I mean, so it's not like,
I mean, there is a chance that we could come to August and say, holy crap, we can cut some hay.
We can cut some hay. And so, like, we will just continue our summer pasture rotation as normal.
Right.
And then when that runs out or the quality decreases, then they'll get turned in on the hay fields.
Yeah.
But depending on if our moisture comes at a different time, which there's no change in the forecast to predict that moisture's coming. I mean, could you cut hay in September? Yeah,
Maybe.
Sure, why not?
I mean, why not? Yeah. This could be the changing of the climates.
Jamie Weld asked if it's cheaper to buy a trailer and truck it yourself. I mean, yeah, you would probably have to get a CDL because you'd have to travel more than 100 miles.
Yes.
And then it comes do you have time? I mean, that becomes the big equation.
So we pay, if Gary trucks for us, because he gives us the friend and family rate, we're paying about $4 a loaded mile for trucking. So, I mean, yeah, can you run your own truck for cheaper than that? Probably. I think Gary's got us pretty much down to pretty much what it's costing him to run. Yeah. He, of course, is hiring somebody usually to drive for us. Yeah. And that's probably where a majority of that is. But yeah, this is what it comes down to. Like, we're going to adapt. We're going to change what we're doing. You guys are going to see a video next week that's going to be, if you remember, I always do these state of the hay addresses every year. It's a play on the, you know, what is it, State of the Union address? Is that what it is? So usually we do them in the middle of July because we're haying, and we end up doing it a lot earlier this year because we know what's going to happen. And I can tell you, you guys, obviously being a part of our live stream crew and hanging out here, you're going to see that first half of that video is going to be doom and gloom. It's going to be horrible. It's going to be everything that's just smacking you upside the face, and you're just going to be like, oh my God, this is horrible. But you have to watch to the last part of the video, because that's where we can start outlining some of our plans, and some of it, I mean, honestly, I think might work. I don't know for sure.
We're still gonna have to buy hay.
Okay, I guarantee it.
Yeah.
But coming up with ways to say, okay, instead of buying 6 months of hay, how can we buy 3 months of hay? Yeah. How can we buy even if it's 4 months of hay? How can we adjust that and see how we can improve our own situation?
And the thing is that really, until we get into August and September and see what the pastures look like we won't know when we can turn them in on the hay fields, because we'll save those for last, I'm guessing.
Well, yeah,
and we'll try and winter graze the hay fields. So it'll depend on if we can get some more moisture and the summer pastures can hold out. We have bought hay every year since 2012. I think we bought about all of our hay in 2012. Yeah. We haven't had to buy all of our hay since we've been on YouTube, but we will, I predict, be buying all of our hay this year. And then the one thing we do have to start worrying about too is that if we don't get some fall moisture, and then if we don't get snow this winter, then our aquifer, this is what we worry about. Our reservoirs are depleted, our aquifers are depleted, and then we worry about even the irrigation that we use on the gardens and pumping stock tanks for cows. Like when we've been in multi-year droughts and stuff, it's like you hear about wells running dry.
Yeah, we have, our well here on the house is 35 feet deep, but you remember that one year when it was like burping air? And we
all
were
the time.
Oh crap, we are in trouble.
Yeah.
And luckily it kind of worked itself out. I don't know if something else dumped into it or what, but we had air.
It rained.
You'd be taking a shower and all of a sudden it'd be like dunk, nothing.
Air.
And it's like, oh crap, and then boom, it kicked back in. So we are, it's gonna be an interesting an interesting year here on the ranch. You know, we want to be able to bring you guys along with us, and if nothing else, I mean, this is going to sound totally stupid and cliche, but it's very much like a story of how you know, the rancher spirit can basically, you know, can overcome anything. At least I hope so, because if not, then I'm, you know, just speaking out my butt. But you know, that's what you want to see. You want to see a win. You want to see somebody seeing adversity and then overcoming it.
Yeah.
And that's the basic of every story ever told.
Yeah.
And I think this is going to be no different.
Yeah.
So
let's hope that other parts nearby us get good moisture and that irrigation produces a good hay crop, so that we don't have to pay $200 for a ton of hay.
Yeah, no doubt. That is the plan. And, you know, we could say, we do have a Ranch Roundup coming up. So we have tickets going on sale soon for Ranch Roundup, hopefully within the next week or so. And we could just change admission to a bale of hay. Just bring a bale of hay, come on in. I mean, that might save the trucking problem. Just be like, just bring some hay, fill up your trunk, you know, whatever you got to do.
Could you bring us some grain for the steers? Maybe some chicken food.
Drop off some feed. Yeah, it might be an interesting way to do it. But you know, honestly, like, you know, if we do get rain at this point, it's not going to help us for haying in July. But who knows? And Erin's big. You know, then the other issue that we have is fire danger. As we keep with this wind and the dry and everything else, I mean, fire danger is definitely something that could, if we did have a grass fire out here and a big grass fire, we would be in serious trouble.
Yeah,
so that would
be in way worse shape. So.
Yeah, so we're thankful that nothing like that has happened yet. Larry asked, what's the average price per bale? It really depends on where you're going. So
it's usually by the ton, not by the bale, which
yeah,
makes
but
it
if
tricky.
a bale is 1,400 pounds, you know, like, it's usually about $100 a ton is about what we usually end up paying.
We usually pay about $150 per ton, and then bales are 1,400 pounds.
Less delivered price.
Well, yeah, but you got to get it
here. I know, yeah, I'm just, true, yeah. I'm thinking in the field, but yeah, so.
Wendy asked, can you get together with other ranchers in your area to hire a semi to go and get olive for you? Yeah, I mean, except for when we have to buy all of our hay, we're looking at 12 to 14 loads of hay.
Yeah, and that's why there's there's lots of semi drivers around that will do it. I mean, that's not a problem.
Yeah, but it's not. Everybody has to truck in such a large quantity that it's not like you buy one semi load and you split it between 3 ranchers.
Exactly. I mean, that's why, you know, Mackenzie calls Gary Grandpa Gary, because that gets us like a 3-cent per mile discount. So, I mean, I'm just kidding. That's not why. But yeah. So yeah, we'll definitely be taking a look at that this week and getting more in depth than we do tonight, and being able to talk more about exactly where we're going to set, but also how things are going to work. And that's why we don't have a fire pit at the RV camp.
It will not be happening this year.
Yeah, exactly.
How many bales you use per year depends on how many cows we keep for the winter.
So yeah, we've used up to 500 a year. So it gets pricey, that's for sure. 25 to 30 pounds per cow per day.
Yeah.
So exactly. Look at the future markets for feed. I mean, that doesn't help us now, but yeah, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, hay is very much dictated by current market price, and because
hay is very much like supply and demand.
Yeah.
I mean, if you farm hay, and I've heard this argument from lots of, even truck drivers, you know, like if the people that farm hay in areas where they know they can irrigate or whatever else, like they're hoping for droughts because they know they're going to make a mint.
Well, and it's just, you know, Belle Fourche, South Dakota has a lot of hay irrigation, or Torrington, Wyoming, we've gotten a lot of irrigated hay out of there. And so even though, like, I mean, these places are very close to us, right? And Belle Fourche is 110 miles from us. And so we can have massive drought and Belle Fourche is fine. And they have irrigation, so they have much more control over their system. And like we've talked about many, many times, we can't irrigate. So it doesn't even have to be that far away from them to have a drought. And so they just run the circle of who's got the drought. And like we've gotten hay all the way out of Dickinson, North Dakota one year.
Horrible. We got hay that came out of a ditch, I'm positive.
And that was the worst year. That was 2012. That was probably the worst drought year that we've had.
And we had to buy every single bale.
Yeah.
And I remember I know they came out of a ditch because I'm unrolling bales and there's like pop cans popping out and beer cans and barbed wire, and I guarantee that guy had to have like a chain baler because there's no way he could have had belts. Like
maybe
they just tore it up. Chef Tiny is here with us. One meal for a 2-night stay in the Airbnb.
Might come to that.
Yeah, you come drop it off. Larry, wow, thank you very much.
Thank you, Larry.
Thank you, Larry. That we appreciate that.
We're on our way.
Honestly, we're not looking for that, guys. I mean, no. It is very much like, you know, we made our bed, you lay in it.
We didn't make our bed.
Well, we came here. You called me one day and said, "Hey, you want to go back to the ranch for the winter?"
I mean, I don't know what the answer is. I don't know what the budget is right now. Calf prices are tough. We don't know what calf prices are going to be.
Well, that's the other issue. Like, we are not going to sell calves until we have to start feeding hay.
Yeah.
So where does that money come from? Because that's the paycheck for the ranch. I didn't even think about that. Now we're backwards on crap.
Yeah.
So, boy, maybe I did shoot myself in the foot by holding back calves last year.
I don't know what the answer is right now.
So on one hand, like, holding back calves allows us to keep cows on pasture longer.
It also means no paycheck till January, and the longer we wait, the higher hay prices get.
Okay. All right. I like the Bambi kissing booth at the farm store. Bambi would kiss people.
For cake.
For cake.
And then she'd get fat.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. All righty, guys. Let's answer questions here for a couple minutes, and then we're going to wrap things up. And I got a video to make for tomorrow. So.
Matt, you're right. Yeah. Buy hay at a low price. Yeah, I mean, that'd be great. I don't have $30,000 or $40,000 or $50,000 just sitting around right now to buy hay. So
to buy hay now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not there.
It's not there. So we're going to figure some things out. Hay's not going to be purchased tomorrow. I can tell you that much. For
sure. Pittsburgh said you need a Wyoming Life jerky jar and auto renew. We looked at doing that, actually, and it actually didn't work out right. Didn't we look at doing
We looked at doing like a subscription box, and then like I figured we'd make like $3 per box, but it was like a huge hassle, and we had to buy all the software and like boxes, and I was just like, it's not, I don't know. And like managing inventory and stuff. I don't know. We looked at it and we were just like, at the end of the day, it penciled all out, and I was like, oh. It was like, it's like just envisioning the amount of work that it would be, because I know you guys would buy subscription boxes, but it just, I don't know. There was a lot more input cost than the current system that we have, and so it just didn't pencil out real well for us, unfortunately.
Exactly.
So.
Bengal and our new cows are doing great. Everybody's out there running around. We were down checking cows today. There was a couple.
Grass is still good. The grass situation's
they're
fine.
Just fine. Yeah, it's just a matter of what's going to happen. So, Cracker Jack for the girls. He's not much of a kisser.
We're not getting a new bull. We're going to gamble on 3.
Yeah, we talked about that the other day at dinner, didn't we? Yeah, we got 3 bulls. We can't, you can just go spend another $5,000 and get another bull. Or do you say, boys, go in and get her done?
We're going to gamble on 3.
I mean, the thing is that, possibly, and this is at the end of the breeding season when we preg check, we're going to end up selling some cows anyway. Mm-hmm. So if we're going to sell cows, we want to sell the ones that are less fertile, the ones that the boys don't like as much, and those are the ones that we want to go anyway.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's
and
kind of
we're within with the 3 that we have, we are within the recommended. We're on the higher end of the recommended cows per bull ratio, but it's not. We're not outside that ratio.
We're on the high end of it. I mean, yeah, it's like, I think the highest I've seen is like 35 per bull. I mean, that puts us right on the very high, maybe a little bit over.
We're gonna be fine.
You sure?
Yeah. I think
we'll go pep talk the bulls. I'll go out there with some Marvin Gaye every once in a while. Maybe that'll make up the difference. JB Weld, $100 super chat. Is this cyclic for
cyclic? Isn't it cyclic?
Cyclic in hay droughts in the area. Make ice stew. I'm gonna have to look that up because I'm not sure exactly what an ice stupa is, but I'm gonna have to look that up. The drought here has just been going on.
It's been tough because even years when we've had, like last year, we had our normal precipitation, but we didn't have it at the right time for hay production.
And we had that stupid hail.
And we had hail, and so if it hasn't been drought, it's just been one thing or another. We just can't catch a break. So we say Gilbert took all of his good luck with him.
Maybe, I don't know.
It's been rough since 2012. The hay situation has been extreme.
Well, even like last year, I mean, the hay wasn't horrible. I actually went down and I was looking. You can go back to last year's haying video, and the clover that we had last year was like waist high. at haying time. There is clover way back there.
Is there?
It's about this tall.
Yeah. And we should have
so
had,
sad. Yeah.
Clover is a biannual.
So we should have had clover again.
So we should have had, if we'd had, and clover is much more moisture dependent than like alfalfa is. So we should have had, if we'd had the moisture, we would have had fields of clover again this year. And we have very, very little. So that right there is an indication of drought.
My hope is that if we keep the hay fields back and we continue through the summer, maybe we'll be haying in September. Who the hell knows?
Fodder is an option that we've tossed around a few times. Can we build a do-it-yourself fodder system that doesn't cost as much money?
We need a container, a storage.
Yeah.
If anybody happens to have a storage container laying around, let me know. But we need something like that to grow in.
Yeah, to grow it in and temperature control. I can grow it. And with fodder, you don't have to buy all your seed up front. Whereas like hay, like we have to buy our hay, by August or September, October, we need to buy hay. Otherwise, it's going to get really expensive depending on how widespread the drought is. With fodder, you can buy the seed as you need it, so that helps the cash flow situation.
Yeah.
And there's some pros and some cons to fodder feeding. And so there's a lot of inputs with it, like water and light and electricity, and a lot of manpower involved in it. So we'd have to weigh all the pros and cons. So.
Yeah. So we'll see where this takes us. Obviously, it's through diversity that necessity comes, and we will, we'll figure this out. And whether it changes how the entire ranch operates, like Erin said earlier, maybe we keep back every single steer and we do halves and wholes. That's
or we
always
can
an option.
process them.
Well, maybe by then we'll have a processor. Who knows?
We're not going to have a processor.
But if you do halves and wholes, you can just sell them on the hoof, right?
I could sell them on the hoof, but then
come get your own cow. You figure it out.
Somebody else's problem at that point.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot that's going to figure out. This next week, like I said in the vlog, is gonna probably lead to more questions than
just switch to petting zoo. Yeah.
Petting zoo.
Thanks, JB.
Yeah, $500 admission. But yeah, each this week's is gonna pose a lot more questions than it's gonna answer. But what it will is it's gonna set up the next 6 months on the ranch and see how we deal with not haying. Unless something drastic changed. Right now, we could get 2 inches of rain right now, and it wouldn't make a lick of difference at this point.
It would keep the pasture healthy.
It would keep them healthy, but it's not going to grow at this point. It's just not.
No, it almost needs to be grazed off, and then we need to get more moisture.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. We will. We won't know a lot of the answers until very many months down the road, but we will make the best decision for now.
Yep, exactly. Also, really quick, I'm going to address this. The herd report. We are
struggling.
We're struggling with the herd report, guys. I'm sorry. Last weekend, I think it was Sunday, Erin was like, "We need to write a herd report today," and then we both kind of spaced it out, and then we got into video, and then something else happens. It's just one of those things that comes down the line. But I do hope to be able to do at least something in the herd report at some point, even if it's just me writing a little blurb. I can do that. So Steve Clement asked if you can plant more acres in hay production. You can, but every acre that you take away from the cows in hay production, you're taking away from their grazing.
And if there's no
rain,
rain,
there's very much a balance there.
If there's no rain, it doesn't matter if it's hay production or pasture. Like, it doesn't make a lick of difference this summer.
It's the same thing.
It's all going to be pasture. So.
Yeah. Will Aeroquip come to branding? Not that I know of. I think they are still locked down with the travel restrictions.
They're in Canada, so there's different restrictions that they're under.
But we do have an interesting crew coming for branding. You're going to see some of our moderators there. You're going to get a chance to ask them questions. You're going to see other subscribers who are going to be there, and it should be a lot of fun.
It's always a cluster.
We're live streaming that, and Erin's going to run around with the camera and answer the same question 4,000 times.
It'll be fun.
So, yeah, exactly. Alrighty, guys, that's it for us tonight. We will see you not next weekend, because we're going to skip next weekend because we have a live stream for branding.
Yeah, so vlogs return tomorrow.
Right.
7 a.m. Well, so 7 a.m. Monday through Saturday.
Correct. Yeah. And we'll take a look, and you guys can decide if you like the live stream on Mondays or if you like the actual having a produced Monday morning meetup. But other than that, we will see you then. And check us out on our website, ourwyominglife.com. You can go to Facebook, Instagram, Be sure to subscribe to both Beyond the Ranch and our Wyoming Life. You'd be surprised, 60% of viewers do not subscribe.
Yeah, subscribe.
So make sure that you subscribe. We'll see you again very soon. And until then, have a great week. And thanks for being a part of Beyond the Ranch. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everyone, for the super chats.
Thank you very much. Oh, and thanks to our moderators, by the way. Lori Habel, Bill the Tractor Man, Matt Fensel, Zach Hewitt, William Dunn, all here hanging out with us.